You're not awakening. You're unraveling. No one ever told you that awakening doesn't begin with light. It begins in darkness. Not with meditation, not with energy, not with joy, but with confusion, with the haunting sense that everything you once believed is falling apart. You're not becoming someone new. You're shedding the layers of ego you were never truly meant to wear. And if you've found yourself feeling lost, if you've ever woken up at 3 a.m. with the feeling, I don't belong here, then this isn't a video you stumbled upon. It's a calling from your truest self. By the end of this video, you won't be asking, who am I? You'll remember how to return to what you've always been. There's a kind of death no one ever talks about. No funeral, no tears, no candles, no ashes. Only you. And an eerie silence when you suddenly realize, I'm no longer who I thought I was. You don't just wake up one day as an enlightened master. It starts with something quieter. Things around you stop fitting. The job you once loved feels empty. The relationship that meant everything now feels hollow. Even the big dreams you once clung to turn into paper cutouts, and panic sets in. Not because you're losing direction, but because you're losing yourself. But here's the truth you were never taught. The self you're losing was never really you. We grow up wearing masks. The mask of the good child. The mask of the kind one, the strong one, the ambitious one, the successful one. Each compliment, each critique, each expectation adds a fresh coat of paint over your original face. And over time, you forget what that face even looked like. Awakening doesn't begin with light. It begins when you look into a shattered mirror. And what you see isn't light. It's 1,000 shards of a breaking identity. You might feel like you're floating, weightless, lost, as if something has pulled you out of orbit. But let me say this, with all the respect your path deserves, that's a good sign, because every real awakening begins with the death of the old self. It doesn't arrive in majesty or beams of holy light. It shows up when you're doing the dishes and suddenly start crying, when you're standing in a crowded street, yet feel like you don't exist. You begin to hear a call, distant, wordless, no image, no voice, just a strange inner pulse. This isn't my home. This isn't who I am. Imagine you're a room, and your whole life you believed you were the objects inside. The chair is labeled career, the table labeled status, and the paintings of what others think of you. Until one day, you start clearing it out. No more chairs, no more paintings, just space. And in that space, your true voice begins to echo. But don't mistake this unraveling for loss. It's not destruction. It's shedding. You're not being taken apart. You're being given back to yourself. You're not collapsing. You're falling inward toward your true center. Maybe that's what you're going through right now. Everything that once made you feel safe now suffocates you. You can't stay in the old loops, can't keep the surface level conversations, can't find joy in the games you used to master. That's not emotional numbness. That's your true self rising, and it can no longer compromise with what no longer fits. You might think, I'm losing everything. But ask yourself this. If you throw away a mask, are you losing yourself, or finally, seeing yourself? At its deepest level, awakening isn't about adding more light to a room. It's about breaking down false walls. And when those walls fall, the light doesn't have to be invited. It rushes in on its own. So remember this. If you remember nothing else from this part, you're not falling apart. You're being unlocked. There's a truth few will tell you at the beginning of your awakening journey. Your body will rebel. Your mind will flip. Your emotions will become a raging storm, often for no apparent reason. You may wake up at 3 a.m., drenched in sweat, heart racing, not from a nightmare, but because the energy within you is being rewired. You might feel disconnected during broad daylight, as if you're living inside someone else's body. A name, a job, a role, but no longer you. Picture yourself as a building with old wiring embedded in its walls. When a new current, stronger, purer, begins to flow through, those old wires start to spark. You feel exhausted for no reason. Your chest tightens. You burst into tears without knowing why. You're not broken. You're purging the old energy codes. Many imagine awakening as peaceful, floaty, full of light and lotus blossoms. In truth, it's more like releasing the valve on a pipe that's been clogged for decades. Everything that's been suppressed must now be expelled. That's why you may eat less or suddenly eat a lot. You may crave sugar or suddenly hate all your favorite foods. You may lose weight without trying or gain weight uncontrollably. It's not about the food. It's your body recalibrating its frequency. Fat, water, muscle, they can all serve as energy buffers you didn't even know you needed. Your eyes may change, not necessarily in color, but in gaze. You look at others, and they look back, as if someone new is standing in your place. You glance in the mirror and don't recognize who's looking back. Is it you, or a version of you that's lived 1,000 lives and just returned? You may feel hypersensitive. Noise overwhelms you. Small talk feels unbearable. Crowds make you feel like you can't breathe. This isn't being antisocial. It's a sign you're returning to your original, pure energy field. But the deepest symptom is emotional unraveling. You walk down the street, hear a song, and tears fall. Not from sadness, not exactly from nostalgia, but from something too deep for words. It might be an old memory, or a pain you didn't know you were carrying. Maybe even the echo of a past life your soul remembers. Even if you don't, you may feel like you're going crazy. And yet, amid all the chaos, there's a quiet, still voice deep within that whispers, "Finally, it's time." Don't rush to label what you're experiencing. Don't call it depression, disorder, or a midlife crisis. Maybe it's not dysfunction. Maybe it's rebirth. And if you feel scared or confused, pause, place your hand on your heart, and ask, could this be the moment I once promised I'd return to walk through? You might not get a clear answer. But if a single tear falls, or there's a strange flutter in your chest, trust it. You're exactly where you need to be. Because awakening isn't about escaping the body. It's about coming home to live fully inside it. Not as a prisoner trapped in the flesh, but as a soul awakening within every cell. You're not insane. You're being realigned. You're not lost. You're being called back to the center. You're not weak. You're remembering how to self-heal. Don't believe anyone who says you must always feel positive, radiant, or peaceful. True awakening is learning to hold space for the cracks, because it's through the cracks that the light gets in. We grow up with a deep belief that I have to figure out who I am, and so life becomes a hunt for identity. Who am I? What do I have? What am I good at? What sets me apart? You try to label yourself. I'm an introvert. I'm the kind of person who likes stability. I'm emotional, weak, or full of self-doubt. I'm not good in crowds. But stop for a moment and ask, who chose those labels for me? If you were once a child who loved to draw, but someone said, you can't make money from art, If you were sensitive but were told, "Grow up, don't be so weak." If you once believed in something beautiful and someone crushed it with a mocking laugh, then the you you're defending and labeling, is that you? There's an ancient metaphor. Humans are like mirrors. When we're born, we're crystal clear. But over the years, layer after layer of dust settles. Each word, each wound, each social expectation. And when you ask, "Who am I?" you're not seeing the mirror. You're just staring at the dust. Awakening isn't about finding a new identity. It's not about rewriting a prettier resume. Awakening is about wiping the dust away. You don't need to learn more. You need to remember. You don't need to become someone special. You need to uncover everything that made you forget you were already light. That's why, on this journey, you may feel lost, because when the labels fall away, suddenly you don't know who you are. But that's not an identity crisis. It's an identity liberation. You are not your name, not your profession, not your past wounds, not the words others once used to define you. You are not even the voice in your head, the one that says you're not enough, not fast enough, not deep enough. You are the silence behind all the noise. You are the one listening to the echo within. Try this. Close your eyes for a minute. Imagine you have no name, no social media profile, no one to impress, nothing to prove, no past to tell. What's left? If what you feel is emptiness, don't fear it, because from that very emptiness, something true begins to emerge. In that stillness, there is a version of you that's never been distorted. It doesn't need approval, doesn't need to be liked, doesn't need to be right or wrong, doesn't need to win or be seen. It simply is. When you let go of everything you thought you were, something strange happens. You start to feel free. You no longer need to become anyone, because you've always been everything, just trapped in a role that was far too small. You are not the one searching for the light. You are the light, learning to see yourself again after a long fog. The real question isn't who am I? It's what am I still holding on to that keeps me from remembering who I've always been? Awakening is the journey of unlayering, not adding, just removing. Removing fear, removing expectations, removing the language others forced into your mouth, removing the mask you've worn for so long. You thought it was your skin. There comes a moment when you no longer need to say, "I am." You simply are. And your presence will say the rest. You are no one, and yet everything. And only when you stop trying to be someone can you return to what you've always been, but forgot. If you feel yourself arriving there, don't rush to name it. Don't define it. Don't share it on social media just yet. Stay with it a little longer. Let yourself feel it without having to prove it. This is one of the most painful truths few dare to admit on the path of awakening. You will feel lonely. Not the kind of lonely that comes from having no one around, but the strange kind that visits even when you're surrounded by people. You begin to feel like you no longer fit into conversations. You can't fake smiles at small talk anymore. The relationships that once brought you joy now feel distant. You sit among old friends and suddenly feel like a soul that's landed in the wrong reality. Don't worry, you're not broken. You're not getting negative. Your frequency is shifting. Imagine you are a song. You used to broadcast on an old FM channel, a place of easy, familiar, predictable tunes. Then one day, for some unknown reason, you switch frequencies. You're no longer on 89.1 megahertz. Now you're on 111.1, megahertz. The problem is, no one around you can hear that new frequency. You begin to feel like a strange creature in your old world. When you talk about energy, they call you woo-woo. When you speak of light, they say, get real. When you're quiet, they think you're cold. When you cry, they say you're weak. And so, you withdraw. You stop sharing. You hold your questions inside. You stay silent, even when your soul is screaming for connection. Maybe you're feeling like that right now. Maybe you've tried to shrink yourself to fit into a relationship. Tried to dim your light so you wouldn't make others uncomfortable. Tried to hide your sensitivity, your intuition, your inner radiance, just to seem normal. But let me say this, you didn't come here to fit in. You came here to remember, and help others remember too. Loneliness during awakening is not a mistake. It's the tuning phase. And in that phase, you need some quiet, but not silence. You need solitude, but not to close your heart. You need to breathe, to break open, to listen, to feel deeply. Because every planet spins alone before it finds its new orbit. And then, a moment comes when you start meeting others on your frequency. Not because you look for them, but because when you hold firm to your truth, you broadcast a signal so clear that other souls can't help but hear it. They will come. A stranger says something that brings tears to your eyes. A look from someone you don't know makes you feel seen. A meeting you didn't plan, but deeper than any friendship you've ever had. You don't need 100 people to understand you, just one who hears you, without you having to shout. On this journey, there will be times when you're the only light in the room. But the miracle is, you still choose to shine. Not for recognition, but because you remember that's who you truly are. And if today you feel lost, invisible, like you don't belong anywhere, know this. There are thousands of others feeling the same. Sitting alone, in bed, in the middle of the night, asking, is anyone else feeling like this? Yes, and you are someone else's answer. Loneliness is not a punishment. It's the sacred silence where you can finally hear your original self. You're not being separated from the world. You're being drawn toward the souls who also remember. If you feel left behind, know this. You're only being held back, so you can lead the way. Right now, pause. There's nothing to remember, nothing to figure out, nothing to improve. Just be here. We've talked about the death of the old self. We've explored the unspoken symptoms. We've touched the deepest loneliness. And now, it's time to return. Not to the past, but to something you've always been. Find a quiet space. Turn off all notifications. No one needs you in the next few minutes, except you. Sit down, or lie down, if that feels better. Whatever helps you release everything. Gently close your eyes. Let your shoulders drop. Open your chest just a little. Let your hands fall beside you, or place them over your heart. Begin to inhale slowly, and exhale softly. Again, breathe in deeply. Breathe out completely. No need to force it. Just feel it. Now imagine, you are a clear crystal, a perfect, luminous gem, once buried in the mud of the world, once covered in dust, but now being lifted, placed gently in the palm of the universe, and light from the moon, from the sun, from the galactic center, begins to shine through you. Not a light from outside, but the light you once radiated before you forgot who you are. Imagine this light flowing through the top of your head, touching your forehead, gently opening the center of your intuition, flowing down your neck, your chest, your heart, to your stomach, your legs, to the tips of your fingers, You don't need to control it. Just allow it to move through. Now, as you soften, call in a version of you, not the you 5 years from now, not the more successful or more accepted you, but the you before the programming, the you before the wounds, the you that was pure light. Your higher self is not someone else. It's the original center of your being, always watching every moment. Whisper, or simply think inside your heart, I'm ready to remember. I'm ready to reconnect. If you are me, please show me a sign. Maybe you won't see anything. Maybe you'll shiver. Maybe an image, a color, or a gentle warmth will rise. Or maybe just a deeper breath. All of it is right. All of it is enough. Stay in this space for a few more breaths. No doing, no trying, just sensing. And when you're ready, whisper again. I have always been light. I'm simply remembering. When you open your eyes, the world may look the same, but you won't be. No one may notice you've changed. No special effects, no bells or glowing lights. But on the deepest level, something has reconnected. You've spoken to your truest self, and it heard you. Just a few minutes each day. No rituals are required. No perfect practice is needed. Just breathe, call, allow. You don't need to go far to connect with the light. You only need one still moment to realize it never left. Right now, pause. There's nothing to remember, nothing to figure out, nothing to improve. Just be here. We've talked about the death of the old self. We've explored the unspoken symptoms. We've touched the deepest loneliness. And now, it's time to return. Not to the past, but to something you've always been. Find a quiet space. Turn off all notifications. No one needs you in the next few minutes, except you. Sit down, or lie down if that feels better. Whatever helps you release everything. Gently close your eyes. Let your shoulders drop. Open your chest just a little. Let your hands fall beside you, or place them over your heart. Begin to inhale slowly, and exhale softly. Again, breathe in deeply. Breathe out completely. No need to force it. Just feel it. Now imagine you are a clear crystal, a perfect, luminous gem, once buried in the mud of the world, once covered in dust, but now being lifted, placed gently in the palm of the universe, and light from the moon, from the sun, from the galactic center, begins to shine through you. Not a light from outside, but the light you once radiated before you forgot who you are. Imagine this light flowing through the top of your head, touching your forehead, gently opening the center of your intuition, flowing down your neck, your chest, your heart, to your stomach, your legs, to the tips of your fingers. You don't need to control it. Just allow it to move through. Now, as you soften, call in a version of you, not the you 5 years from now, not the more successful or more accepted you, but the you before the programming, the you before the wounds, the you that was pure light. Your higher self is not to someone else. It's the original center of your being, always watching every moment. Whisper, or simply think inside your heart, I'm ready to remember. I'm ready to reconnect. If you are me, please show me a sign. Maybe you won't see anything. Maybe you'll shiver. Maybe an image, a color, or a gentle warmth will rise. Or maybe just a deeper breath. All of it is right. All of it is enough. Stay in this space for a few more breaths. No doing, no trying, just sensing. And when you're ready, whisper again. I have always been light. I'm simply remembering. When you open your eyes, the world may look the same, but you won't be. No one may notice you've changed. no special effects, no bells or glowing lights. But on the deepest level, something has reconnected. You've spoken to your truest self, and it heard you. Just a few minutes each day. No rituals are required. No perfect practice is needed. Just breathe, call, allow. You don't need to go far to connect with the light. You only need one still moment to realize it never left. We've talked a lot about awakening, but maybe that's not the right word. Because you're not asleep. You're not wrong. You're not lost. You've just forgotten. And the truth is, you're not awakening. You're remembering. Remembering what? Not some knowledge, not a system, not a grand philosophy. But this, you are remembering the being you've always been, before the world told you who to be. There's a strange moment on this path. You hear a simple sentence, and your whole body vibrates. You don't know why. You don't understand why tears flow. No one touched you. No one hugged you. Nothing happened. But something inside you lit up. It wasn't the first time you learned that truth. It was the first time you remembered it. Why do some people cry deeply during a soul-centered video? Why do others walk through a forest, look at the sky, and see something no one else sees? Because the soul remembers. It isn't programmed. It doesn't need to be taught. It just needs to be unlocked. We didn't come here to find the soul. We came to peel back the layers of words, beliefs, and wounds until the soul reveals itself like the moon behind the clouds. You were light. You still are light. You never left. You've just been wearing the world's headphones too long to hear your heartbeat. The word awakening may sound like you're moving from darkness into light, but the word remembering feels more like an inner nod. A soft smile, a quiet, oh, that's it. You're not someone climbing toward truth. You're the mountain that's always been there, hidden by fog. You're not someone learning. You're the wisdom being revealed as the mind gets quieter. You're not someone needing salvation. You're life itself, stepping out of forgetfulness. If you've ever heard the phrase, remember who you are, pause and listen to it again from the inside. Not as a slogan, not as a motivational quote, but as a call from the deepest part of you. You were once a barefoot child on the earth. You once looked at the stars and felt you belonged somewhere far beyond this world. You once painted light that no one understood. You once heard whispers in the wind and believed they were real. That wasn't imagination. That was a soul memory. True awakening is not learning something new. It's remembering what you've always known, but forgot. You don't need validation. You don't need proof. It comes like a breeze across your skin, and you shiver because you know. You've been here before. You're not someone searching for a soul. You are the soul, learning to see through new eyes. Which are your oldest eyes? You may think you're at the beginning of the journey. But here's the strange truth. Your soul has already gone much farther. You're just catching up. And if you're reading, listening, feeling these words right now, and something inside you gently cracks open, there's no need to explain. Just allow yourself to remember. Remember who you already are. Remember why you came. Remember the calling you once heard, but silenced long ago. This journey is not about becoming someone else. It's about having the courage to take off the headphones, to pause, and turn inward, asking, have I known this all along? If you've stayed with this video until now, take a moment and feel the silence that exists between the words. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to understand everything. You don't need to summarize. Just be here. Awakening isn't a place you arrive at. There is no final destination. There is no finish line. There is no graduation ceremony for the soul. Awakening is a living movement, like breath, like waves. It's not about leveling up, but about deepening into each moment. You don't need to be fully enlightened to live truthfully. You don't need to reach a state of permanent spirituality. You just need to recognize what is present right now. You might still be confused. You might still carry wounds. You might still feel lost. But some part of you is awake. Not perfect, just honest. You can continue walking far. Read more, learn more, meditate, act. But if there's one thing you carry from this video, let it be this. I don't need to become anyone. I just need to dare to live as myself, raw, evolving, remembering. Because light doesn't need to flood the entire universe. It just needs to reach the room you're in, your mind, your heart. This moment, this journey isn't lonely, even if you're walking alone, because those who are remembering will always feel each other. If you felt seen, heard, or understood in this video, let your true self speak. You don't need to tell a long story. Just leave a sign. In the comments below, write, "I'm remembering." That's enough. And maybe, just maybe, that simple truth will awaken someone else. And if you want to go deeper, if you want to walk with others truly moving through this path, if you want not just to understand awakening, but to live within it, check the description below. We've created a space, not a course, not a system, no promises, just a place to remind you. You're not crazy, you're awakening, and you're not walking alone. No one can tell you the right path, but if you've heard the call, know that you're ready. And when fear returns, or confusion, or loneliness, place your hand on your heart and whisper, "I'm remembering." Then take a deep breath and know that that alone is enough for today. You don't have to believe me. You don't have to believe anyone. Just believe one thing. There is a part of you that has never been forgotten, and that part is still waiting for your return. See you again, not in the next video, but within yourself, deeper than before. Inner alchemy. You're not awakening, you're remembering.